We got LeBron on one side, KD on the other. What a ball game, what a finish, Lakers and Suns. Let's go to the fourth quarter. Suns down 94-92, but it's KD who had 31, knocking down a three. It's a one-point game, and then it's Anthony Davis, Monica, underneath.
Yeah, just relentless on the glass. Anthony Davis was great with 15 rebounds, in this one.
27 and 15. Then it's LeBron. He played 40 minutes. Lakers take a three-point lead. And J. Will, Austin Reeves knocking down a big three for L.A.
What a big shot by Austin Reeves. Can somebody please teach the Phoenix Suns how to guard pick and roll?
God,
please,
Greeny.
We'll get into all of that, but here comes the controversy. Crazy moment. Suns get a possession. They get a bucket. Now, Austin Reeves is going to get the inbounds pass and watch the ball pressure on him, Jay. He's going to give it up, and they will grant the Lakers a timeout, even though clearly no one has the ball.
Monica, home cooking?
Absolutely.
Home cooking.
This is terrible.
Home cooking, Greeny.
Just bad.
It's one of the worst plays I've seen in this year.
Here's another look at it again. We will show you everything you need to see. The timeout is granted to LeBron right here. That's where the basketball is. Jay, are you allowed to call a timeout if you don't have the ball?
I mean, that's the lesson I learned when I was in fifth grade, Greeny. Fifth grade.
It's a terrible moment there. Suns not pleased. Anyway, it all comes down to this. 6 seconds to go. AD at the line makes the first, misses the second. So it's a three-point game. Here comes KD with a chance for the tie. Ooh, and it's no good. And the Lakers escape 106-103. They're on to the semis. And Coach Vogel not pleased.
We get a quick 2 and foul. We can do that or trap, which was the plan, which worked. We got the trap. We got the turnover. The damn whistle blow. It's frustrating.
Jay.
I mean, I feel like as a fan, I got robbed of a game that should have gone into overtime, right? Because that's a lesson that you learn in fifth grade. I mean, if the ball's on the ground and it's not in possession, shout out to LeBron for actually putting pressure on the ref to make the call. But there's no way in hell, Greeny, you can call a timeout and LeBron James right there with the ref. There's nobody has possession of the ball. How is that possible? The ball's going out of bounds. You can't call a time. It's just not. It's mind-boggling to me, Monica.
I would agree, and I think post-game you heard the officials determine that the ball was still on Austin Reeves' leg, thus Lakers possession. This year with the review stuff, Greeny, you can review you can review fouls, or you can review inbounds and out of bounds. I don't understand why this isn't something that they could be like, we messed this up, call a jump ball, here we are.
One way or another, it's a frustrating way to end what was an unbelievable game, and I will continue to say, the story is this man right here. Mm-hmm. LeBron James, who has played in the league now, checks notes, 67 years, and is 38 years old. Plays 40 minutes last night.
The only person in the game to play 40 minutes.
All 12 of them in the fourth quarter. He continues to be, I will say it, he continues to be the best player in the NBA at his age.
Yeah, I agree with you, and he's the best player sustained over a long period of time. He was the best player on the court last night with Kevin Durant, with D-Book, and also with Anthony Davis. And by the way, the reason why you love LeBron, he executes like a chess match down the stretch. Look at these two players I have for you, Greeny. Yeah. I've talked about it before. They break down the Phoenix Suns in all pick and roll. You see Nurkic, I swear, I can beat him on a pick and roll right now on a peg leg. Call me Captain J Hook, and I still can beat him on a pick and roll. We have these plays. It's really, he's able to annihilate them off PNR. When he does that, Monica, it's a game.
Do we have the plays?
Yeah, do we have the plays?
Let's try and show them here.
I was trying to get us through the
I'm being told we have a little trouble with the tape, so
we'll
get them. We'll have them for you later in the show. But the point remains that the Suns really struggle on the defensive end, and that could wind up being their kryptonite, because this is a matchup of two teams. If we're trying to figure out who's going to make the Nuggets sweat in the Western Conference in the long run, and look, credit to the NBA, this in-season tournament, it is working. These teams played like this was a championship game last night. But if we're figuring out who's going to make the Nuggets sweat towards the end of the year, these figure to be two of the teams that could be there.
Absolutely, and in particular, to me, the differentiating factor between these two teams, if you chalk up your two stars on each side to being neutral, which we could debate whether or not that is or is not true, but it's the size. There's a play, like 1:56 to go in the ball game. Literally, Devin Booker comes down and sets up. But you're looking at all of these Lakers matchups. And in those black jerseys on that terrible court last night, they almost looked like something out of a video game. But the height, to me, just kind of stood out. And they were able to force a shot clock violation in the waning moments of clutch time in the ball game.
Yeah, I think the two teams that really are going to give Phoenix issues are Denver and the Lakers due to physicality.
Yep.
The physicality when the games are in the trenches, like the 20 offensive rebounds for the Lakers last night.
And 8 for Suns.
Exactly,
Yep.
and 20 turnovers right? Because of the physicality when they come into the lane, and also the fatigue factor for Devin Booker and KD down the stretch.
Well, I mean, are we ever going to see Bradley? Are we ever going to see the trio that everyone was all excited about? The Suns put together a big three, and they have not yet been that.
I mean, they're saying it's a disc issue. I can tell you what, back issues, lower back issues aren't things to play around with, especially as you need a game of endurance down the stretch.
I was just in Phoenix on Friday. He's supposed to be reevaluated on Friday. It was a week from Friday when we were at the game. They're optimistic, but that's not something that goes away overnight.
What did you see from Milwaukee last night that might change people's minds?
I think continuity between Dame and Giannis and the way they played. And I think it's the offensive firepower that's there. Now, look, they shot 60% from the field, 60% from the three-point line, from three. You're going to win a lot of games if you go that way. Here's the only reason, Greeny, why I said I didn't bet on Boston long term. I know Porzingis was healthy last year, but he's been injured more than he's been healthy. So I bet on the fact I'm not sure he's going to be available when Boston needs him to be the most, and their offensive firepower is different. I would just bet on the availability of Giannis and Dame before that.
I mean, you were there last night, Monica. I sort of want to ask the question this way. Like, when the Bucks are at their best, when they are, how good are they? How would you describe it?
Now, granted, I think the Knicks' defense did not travel, point blank period, and they're not always going to shoot 60% from the three and from the field. But last night was the realization of everything you thought could be when you heard that this trade went down. And not just when the two of these guys are on the floor, though, mind you, they draw so much attention that I could count 4 different Bucks off the top of my head that were getting clean looks from behind the three-point line, and they were obviously connected at a high clip last night. But when you only have one, you have this opportunity to stagger forces, although they attack you differently in terms of their size versus their speed, but they both can anchor this Bucks squad if necessary. And prior to the game, Coach Adrian Griffin, he talked about this team getting healthy. I think somewhere in this we've forgotten about Chris Middleton getting back to true form of the closer that we saw him be when this team won a championship.
And so as you sort of spin this thing forward, it feels like a big deal. I tell you what.
Tyrese Halliburton?
Tyrese Halliburton's magnificent.
Not Halliburton. Himmelberg.
Oh, Himmelberg. I got you.
Yes,
I got you.
That's his name.
Here I am thinking you misspoke. But all kidding aside, like a Bucks-Lakers finals Saturday night on ABC in the in-season tournament, now we're talking.
Oh, no, I think, I think that would be the league's dream. I know it would be ESPN's dream. I am going to say this, though. I think it's going to be the Pelicans versus the Bucks.
Really?
I do.
A young Zion getting it done?
Not just Zion, but Trey Murphy's back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a team that's chippy. Remember how they pushed a couple years ago in the playoffs.